Now, WLOX First Alert Weather with meteorologist Eric Jeansonne.
All right, that nice little taste of fall we've been enjoying, well, it's pretty much over now. We definitely have that mugginess back into the air. Dew points are up, temperature 77 degrees. Forecast for tomorrow, again, waking up in the upper 50s. We warm up, though. Tomorrow will be warmer, back into the mid-80s by the afternoon with a few passing clouds, but for the most part, things are clear throughout the day. But putting a storm track on this, and again, these are estimated times. Storm's not moving very fast, about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Perhaps if it can hold together, Waveland in the next 15 minutes or so, Long Beach by 6:40. Something to check out this week, and don't forget the bug spray because the mosquitoes will carry you away if you don't. We'll have much more of the forecast in just a little bit. Notice our rain chances once we get into the Tuesday-Wednesday time frame. We actually start to knock the rain chances down. Here's why. What we're going to see is high pressure developing over the Gulf. You could see the clockwise flow around that as we advance through the middle of the week. It actually brings in some drier air. Once we get that peak daytime heating, a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Is everyone going to get rain tomorrow? It doesn't look that way, but if you get caught up under one of those storms, it'll put down some locally heavy rain, some gusty winds in your area. But the pattern really is not supporting a big cold front for South Mississippi. Here's a look at the upper air pattern as we go into the middle part of this week. The jet stream takes a big dip down all the way across the plains there and out towards the west. That's going to allow for some really cold air over there, but for South Mississippi, we're still under the influence of high pressure, and it's this stubborn area of high pressure that builds back in over the southeast that blocks the cold air. Here's a look at a thunderstorm, and inside of a thunderstorm you have lots of rising air and you have lots of sinking air. So those updrafts and downdrafts end up taking little ice particles and water particles, and they bombard each other, and eventually you get a positive charge at the top of the cloud and a negative charge down at the bottom of the cloud. Well, since you have a pool of negative charge at the bottom of the cloud, it starts to attract a pool of positive charges down at the surface. So those begin to connect, and when they connect, they create a flash of lightning. We are approaching the peak of hurricane season, so we're going to watch these tropical waves. One moving over into the Lesser Antilles has a low chance of developing over the next 2 to 5 days. Hurricane hunters, they are actually flying through Isaias right now. They're making that crisscross pattern through the eye. We have tropical depression number 14 that is expected to head up towards Texas as we go into early next week. And we have Tropical Storm Laura, which is struggling. Winds about 45 miles per hour and expected to move over into the Gulf by early next week. It could become a hurricane as it approaches. And then look at this new model run really intensifies Laura as it tracks up towards Louisiana. If it makes a landfall there, that certainly could bring impacts to South Mississippi. So don't look now, but well, we're watching some more tropical waves coming off the coast of Africa. Break down the scenarios here. That track is very wide. Let's say tropical depression number 19 takes this far eastern track. Notice the impacts for South Mississippi. We would be on the dry side of the storm, so less rain, less storm surge, less wind, and less of a tornado threat. Now let's say it decided to go up towards the middle of the forecast track. That would be the worst case scenario for us. We would get more rain, we would get more impacts from surge, we would get more impacts from wind, and the possibility of tornadoes. Notice if it takes the track furthest to the west, it would stay south of us and move far away enough as where we wouldn't get as much rain, we wouldn't get as much surge, wind, or the tornado risk. So all of those are possible scenarios. It's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Harrison and Stone and Pearl River and Hancock counties, you're probably not going to get too much out of this other than some breezy conditions. Notice into Jackson County and George County, still some rain bands by around 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then lunchtime, maybe a few rain bands kind of pivoting around. But for the most part, we're expecting the bulk of the activity to be east of South Mississippi. As Delta approaches, it appears more and more likely that the main impacts are going to be across Louisiana. But South Mississippi, we'll start to see some impacts. And the time frame that we're looking at is mainly between 9 o'clock tomorrow night going into the first part of Saturday. Don't look at that. We're just not going to look at that. There have been some changes with our tropical system that we're watching in the Caribbean. A high chance of developing over the next 2 to 5 days. It is getting better organized. Look at the forecast track. It's coming through South Mississippi. It's going to be our storm. We missed all the other storms. Zeta is our storm. The center of the storm is moving up I-59 here, and those rain bands are starting to move onshore. So 7 to 11 feet of storm surge across South Mississippi. That certainly is significant. We're going to see significant flooding. Go ahead, charge your phones now. Get all your devices charged up. turn the thermostat down in your house now while you have power and get it cool. Core of the strongest winds. So things are really going downhill for Pearl River up into Diamond Head, Waveland. This eye wall is going to be in Waveland around 6:53. So in about 20 minutes or so, it'll be in Long Beach around 7:25, Gulfport by around 7:30, Saussure by around 8 o'clock. That's the core of the strongest winds. The core of hurricane force winds now covering all of Hancock County, now moving into Harrison County. And I apologize if we kind of go in and out of coverage. We are getting power surges here at the station, so things are just a little chaotic behind the scenes because of that, as we do have a hurricane that's bearing down on us at the moment. We do have hurricane force winds now moving into Harrison County, past Christiane, Long Beach, Gulfport. Basically along Highway 49, it's about to cross Highway 49. We're really going to start seeing those strong winds just really start to ramp up through South Mississippi as this starts to move on through. I can hear the winds outside in the station. And at any point, if we have the shot that is outside in our backyard queued up to go, let me know. I'd like to see what we're seeing here outside at the station. But the core of the storm, all right, let's go to that shot. Let's take a look at that. All right, so this is a live view. Okay, this is the front yard. This is the front yard of the station. So if you're not familiar with our station, we are on DeBees Road in Biloxi. We're about a block from the beach, just north of the tracks. We got strong winds moving on through. If you look really closely on the shot there, you could see the flag that is in our front yard just flapping in the wind. I'm seeing things kind of flying in the air a little bit. Looks like, oh, you saw that? You saw that big bright flash? That was not lightning. That was a power surge. There's another one. That is another power surge we just got there. So you're seeing those blue flashes in the sky. Those are power flashes. We are losing power by the second across South Mississippi as these strong winds. Carrie just pulled us up here. This is where we are, about right there on DeBees Road. Everyone in South Mississippi, hunker down. The next couple of hours, this is going to be the most intense. Let me slide over to the wind map. Again, the core of the strongest winds now covering all of Harrison County. The center of Zeta is now crossing over to Alabama. That's where the hurricane force winds are. Notice South Mississippi, we're starting to see the tropical storm force winds exit the area.